One of my favorite things about modded Minecraft is how much there is to do. There's adventure mods, power mods, tech mods, decorative mods, there's a mod for almost anything. I typically only really care about making some really cool looking buildings, but once I make my awesome house, I feel very drawn to getting into the super grindiness of different logistical and tech mods. So today, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. And a little building because I'm always building something. I decided to start grinding away with my applied energistics setup I talked about last episode. I read through the quest book and saw that some of the main crafting components for like everything in the mod were these processor things I had to craft with these special blocks called inscribers. I made some, but I couldn't do anything with them without power, so I accepted some quest rewards hoping I'd get some free power stuff. I got a free wind generator and a free fuel generator. Thinking the fuel generator turned coal into power, I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. I took some time to actually read about it in the quest book and realized it needed some special liquid fuels to run. I definitely didn't have any of that, so I just decided to use the wind generator instead. But then I got jump scared by an apotheosis boss spawning. I went to slay it real quick and realized it was such a nothing of a threat that I could just sit there and read about nerd stuff while it attacked me. Now, with slightly more knowledge in my brain, I set up my inscribers, accidentally picked up my wind generator, supplied them with power properly, and then celebrated. Although I was happy to get my power working, it was really slow and really sucked. So I went over to Ian's where he gave me a quick lesson on better power things. He then bragged about Pat giving him a free quantum computer core instead of me.
Patrick gave me the quantum computer core.
And then I found out the Power mod has the fastest energy cables. Oh, Power has the fastest energy cables. So I went home to get started with that. At home, I noticed another one of my bookworms had phased through the wall somehow, so I rescued him. I wanted to mention also that at some point I found this holy locket relic, which deals damage to anything around me, equal to however much I heal, which is really nice with the natural regeneration I have from my genetic modifications. Later, while fighting a phantom, I noticed Pat accidentally made a hole in his wall, so I went to pay him a surprise visit.
What the?
Back on task, I made an actual decent generator for my power, and was elated that it was actually working. I was immediately distracted again though, and asked Pat to hit me so I could test my new relic, when Ian decided that he should save my life. Keep hitting me. Smack me with like your sword or something.
Yoki.
Oh, I ran into that on accident.
I then decided I wanted to build an industrial chambers for all of my power stuff, so I started clearing a large room for that. I got the floor down, then the ceiling, and then placed a share stone so I could easily teleport around my base and all my different rooms that I built. The room was basically done now. I just needed to figure out how I wanted to lay out all the machinery and cables and stuff. I realized cables were just going to be too ugly, so I made some gloop, because I needed its special gloop stone to make a wireless power thingy. As the gloop slowly consumed the gold, I jumped with joy and then harvested my gloop stone. With it, I made a stronger gloop, this one hungry for diamonds. So I fed it, waited, then harvested again. I did all that to make this stupid thing, which is probably like crazy useful, but I'm too stupid for it, so all that gloop time was for nothing. Like the failure I am, I went back to my wind generator and just used that again like a chump. I then sheared Chris's pathetic and abused sheep and rang her bell on the way out. I was so overwhelmed with the thought of cable management and making a visually appealing layout for my machines and stuff that I dug out a whole new room under the one I just made, where I could hide all of the ugly stuff for now. I then tried to do something genius, but I don't know how many times it's going to take for me to remember I'm stupid, because it didn't work. Now that my power was at least decent, I decided to get back to work on applied energistics. But then I was distracted by an apotheosis boss Enderman. I was so unbelievably annoyed by how much he kept teleporting, I just gave up. I'm just going home. And then worked on expanding my hallway. Also, this is Fernando's finished room here. I forgot to record while I was working on it, but I have it all done here. A few days had passed by, and I secretly gave Pat a gene making him milkable off camera, so Ian and I gave him a generous milking. I think this is his way of telling us to stop milking him and drinking his milk. I had also given myself a gene making myself shearable because I wanted a bunch of wool. Well, that was nice and nutritious.
Your eyes are so big.
Oh, why are my eyes so big? But I didn't realize that that would also remove my second layer from my skin every time I sheared myself. so I had to go remove that gene. Oh no, it's because I sheared myself. A few more days had passed by, as well as a ton of grinding, and I managed to remove the gene, as well as make good progress with applied energistics. I placed my terminal and controller down, and my system was practically all set up. I used one of those hyperbox things to fully automate a bunch of materials inside, which would make all of my building, but also future automation, way easier. I took the box and moved it to a more permanent location set up so that my new applied energistics system could see what's inside and interact with it all. I then started setting up some machines, and I made a couple with some super cool animations. I then realized I had everything set up enough to finally move everything from my old storage to my new one. So after like 15 minutes, everything was moved. So I retired my deer bookworms and took down my old storage lectern to use somewhere else in the future. With my storage nice and upgraded, I decided to start on my Skyforge. I got the base structure down, put some towers in, worked on their roofs, then made this giant weird sphere thing in the middle. I was all out of candles and had no honey to make more, so for now, the Skyforge was done. I then accepted like a million more quest rewards, then went over to Ian's house to use his anvil to make some gem dust, something I'd need for the stuff I wanted to put in the Skyforge. I then started to decorate the Skyforge, but not really because it's ugly. I'm more so just lazily placing down everything that I need. So after getting everything placed down, I decided I wanted to unlock the highest difficulty rank in the mod pack, and realized that I needed to defeat the Ender Dragon first and still hadn't done that. So I went to the end, placed the crystals, and waited for the dragon to spawn in. I immediately started blowing up the crystals within inches from my face like an idiot, and then found out the Ender Dragon had some magic or something that would force me onto the ground, so I couldn't be in the sky the whole time. It repeatedly summoned dozens of lightning bolts, scorching the ground all around me. It was pretty annoying trying to get close enough to damage it just to be forced onto the ground every couple of minutes, and it was also insanely loud. But after like 10 minutes, I finally managed to slay the dragon. I then took a sec to check out my loot. It was kind of pathetic, and then went home and updated my difficulty. I decided to celebrate by fighting another wither. I was building him when I noticed my screen was black and white. Scared and confused, I thought maybe something happened after fighting the dragon, but then I realized it was just because I accidentally put the wither scroll on my head. I put them together, and then ended them in like a second. Back at the Skyforge, I placed my final little thingies, admired my creation, and decided it was complete enough, at least for now. With my Skyforge successfully added to my home, my area was one step closer to being complete. But my true end goal with this series is to complete the FTB Pyramid, a very grindy challenge set by the mod authors that I'll talk about more next episode. But first, I have an atrium that I want to add to my home, and Fernando still needs his stuffed pumpkins automated. Thank you so much for watching. I want to say a special thanks to my patrons, Shy, Bob Lights Cheese, and Christina. Your guys' support helps so much. I really appreciate you guys. If you didn't know, I have a Patreon, and I'm actually an illustrator, and so it's very illustration focused. A lot of the rewards are based around my drawings and the art that I create. So if you're interested in any of that, then please consider checking it out. I have a link in my description. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.